Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Book by Book blog, and I'm here with another Friday Reads. My book mug is in the dishwasher right now, but I thought this one was very appropriate. I am getting ready for Booktopia, that annual book event I go to every spring in Manchester, Vermont. Up for Breakfast is the greatest breakfast restaurant I have ever seen. And we've tried a lot of them all over the country. So yeah, getting in the Booktopia mood this morning. And my reading plans reflect that as well. But mostly right now for this past week, I have been focused on Middle Grade March and March Mystery Madness. And I'm really enjoying both of those. First, before I leaped into those, I read one short story out of the Penguin Book of Ghost Stories, which is edited by Michael Newton. The Book Cougars podcast is doing a year-long ghost story theme for their read-alongs. Now, they will have their usual book for each quarter as a read-along, but they've also got this year-long read-along, this Book of Ghost Stories, classic ghost stories. And so I decided I wanted to join the fun. I don't always have time for their read-alongs, but I really love ghost stories, and I thought I could fit in a story once a month. So I will link below to their podcast and also the notes on their webpage about the year of ghost stories and the schedule for reading this. So I started with the first story, The Old Nurse's Story by Elizabeth Gaskell. I have never read this classic author before, so I was happy to have a chance to dip a toe into her work. It was an excellent ghost story, very creepy, spooky, with great atmosphere, about a nurse, basically a nanny, who is caring for an orphaned girl, and they go to live in this home with wealthy relatives of the little girl, and spooky things start to happen. It was excellent. I really enjoyed it, and I think this is going to be fun all year. So I will be slipping a ghost story in between books here and there throughout the year. I am currently reading Pieces and Players by Blue Balliet. This works for both Middle Grade March and March Mystery Madness. I love Blue Balliet's novels. Her middle grade novels are all mysteries, mostly centered around art and with great characters. And what I didn't realize when I picked this up, this has actually been on my shelf for 10 years now. I'm embarrassed to admit. I finally got to it. What I didn't know about this book is that she has pulled together individual characters from each of her other books who are now all 13 years old and are coming together to solve this biggest mystery any of them has ever encountered. And that is that 13 different pieces of artwork and artifacts have been stolen from a local museum in Chicago. Their teacher brings them all together for the first time. Well, 3 of them had worked together in a previous book, but then the other 2, who each had their own books, come together. And those are the 2 other Blue Balliet novels I have read. Hold Fast, which features Early, seen there, and The Danger Box, which features Zumi there. So I already knew those characters, and I recognized the names of the other characters from the other books. So this is really fun. The pieces are the 13 pieces of artwork that have gone missing. The players are both the kids and the Board of Trustees, the very elderly Board of Trustees at this museum. And the kids are trying to solve the mystery, as always. I always enjoy Blue Balliet's novels. They're loads of fun. The characters are great. And I have to admit, when it comes to art, I'm kind of the way I am with poetry. I don't always get it. I try to appreciate it, but I'm not sure I always get it. So I am actually really enjoying this book as they talk in detail about each of these pieces of art that's gone missing. I've been looking them up on my iPad, which I keep next to my bed, and seeing the pictures while I'm reading about them has really deepened my enjoyment of this book. I think, and I know this isn't the way books are normally published, but I think it should have full color photos in the center of all of these pieces of artwork. So I'm enjoying the story, the characters, and the art. When I finish that book, I will be moving on to some of my Booktopia reading. And fortunately, there are 2 mysteries in the list this year. The Plot by Jean Hanff Korelitz and the sequel. That's the sequel to The Plot by the same author. I've been hearing great things about both of these books. I'm really excited to read them and to meet the author the first weekend in May. And so those will be next up for me, and they will fit with March Mystery Madness. When I first chose Pieces and Players, like I said, it's been on my shelf a long time. I know I like the author. I chose it because I've really been wanting to read it. I didn't think it fit any of the prompts for middle grade March, but it actually does fit prompt 3, read a book that is part of a series. Now that I realize that it features characters from her other books. Not a series in that it's numbered per se, but definitely books that connect to each other. And for March Mystery Madness, the path I am on by default is definitely path 3, take a contemporary trip through the decades, reading mysteries that were published in the last decade. So this barely fits, having been published in 2015. And this was published, The Plot was published in 2023, and its sequel, the sequel, I believe, was published in fall 2024. So those all fit very well, as do the other books that I've chosen. And you can see my March reading plans video for those. On audio, I am listening to another book that fits both of these fun March events. It's called Stranded by Nikki Shannon Smith. So this is a middle grade book. It is about a young girl who lives in New York City with her family, but she doesn't like living in the city. She loves nature. She is completely obsessed with wildlife and plant life, and she loves being outdoors. She spends a lot of time in Central Park, but that's the only bite-sized piece of nature that she's really got. None of her family shares her interests, and in fact, her older brother teases her that Black people aren't supposed to like nature because they're always the first ones killed off when they get lost in the woods in a movie. So, but she loves nature. So she goes up to visit her aunt in the Adirondacks. And her aunt lives in a cabin out in the wilderness, beautiful area. And Ava is just in heaven, staying with her aunt in this beautiful place, exploring nature. Her aunt is teaching her all about wilderness survival. And her aunt lives no frills. She's got a cabin that has no cell service, often doesn't have electricity, and she does everything old school. And so she's teaching her niece all of that. The mystery, suspense, thriller part comes in when Ava finds herself stranded, hence the name of the book, in the Adirondacks by herself. And she has to rely on all that she's been learning from her aunt. I've just gotten to that part now where she finds herself alone and figures out she's on her own. So I am loving this. We're getting ready for a long camping trip, road trip with our camper. So I love the nature outdoor themes. And I have a feeling the narrative is going to get much more suspenseful and exciting now that Ava is on her own. But I can see, this setup at the beginning with her learning wilderness survival skills and everything is going to come in handy. So I'm very much enjoying that. For middle grade March, that fits the prompt of a book whose author has 3 names, Nikki Shannon Smith. It is also a book that involves travel, as Ava has traveled to the Adirondacks and is also going to need to travel to find help. And it was published in 2024, so it fits with my March Mystery Madness reading in the past decade. So this is my last Friday reads for a little while. I will be on the road. I plan to still have a presence here on BookTube and on YouTube generally. I will be posting travel vlogs as we go along. Probably 1 a week, I am thinking, because I'm not going to have a lot of time for editing videos and putting a vlog together. Going to try to do that once a week. Also going to be uploading plenty of shorts, including reading updates and the books that I'm reading. So look for those. This is a different approach for me. This is kind of a trial thing. We want to travel a lot more, and we've got 2 big trips planned this year. On this one, we're going all the way to Texas and back. I was going to try to post another video. I've got so many great tag videos I want to do, but I've been sick up until this week pretty much, and now I have very little time to get ready for this trip, so I need to spend all my time packing and making lists and getting the camper ready. So the next videos you'll see from me will be on the road. As I said, this is kind of a new thing for me. I am going to, before we leave, I'm going to visit Verizon, turn my phone into a hotspot so that I can get Wi-Fi while we're camping. And that way I'll be able to upload videos, like full edited videos. And I'm bringing my laptop with me, which I wouldn't normally do on a camping trip. So it's a camping trip, but it's a very long road trip. This is not like our normal, very relaxing, nature-focused camping trips. We will be camping most nights along the way. We are staying with some friends in Texas. And but the big purpose of this trip is to visit friends and family. We've got a lot of family in Texas, in the San Antonio area. Our 3 nephews and their families there and nearby. We've got friends in Houston. So we kind of started the trip with that. But then as we were planning the driving part and all the places we were stopping along the way, we realized we've got friends in almost every state and family. So yeah, so we'll be staying with my cousin and her family in North Carolina. I haven't seen my aunt, who is the only remaining sibling of my dad's. I haven't seen her, I don't know, maybe since his funeral 10 years ago. It's been a long time. So this will be really nice to see them. Gonna visit my childhood best friend in Georgia. Hoping to pop in on some other friends along the way. And spending a weekend in New Orleans where we used to live. So we've got a lot to look forward to. And you can come along with me through my videos. So I hope you'll keep an eye out for those and enjoy those. And meanwhile, please let me know in the comments down below what you are reading this week.